A few minutes behind, but the whole coffin thing didn't really matter. The only person who could kill Nosferatu was the lady. Oh, okay. And did he know he was going to die then? So literally none of that mattered at all. It was all just about her and him. Like, he probably knew he was going to die. How he just wanted to, like, sex her up. No, he was obsessed. Damn, careful with careful with that. Can lead you down some bad roads. William Dafoe is a great actor. I didn't even know he was in that movie. And then he showed up and I was like, wait a second, is that William Dafoe?
The most I've ever done was 117. Average is anywhere from 30 to 70. From a practical standpoint, it takes a dozen or two to get your body worked up, so getting sweaty and red, and to a place where it looks like you're having a breakdown that's been going on for a long time and we're just getting a window in. And then it's...
This guy's like Sam Hyde if he just wasn't a Nazi.
It's about just sort of finding what it wants to be from a performance perspective until my body physically shuts down. I like to kind of stretch my mouth and
why does he have stigmata? What the fuck?
my eyes as wide as they can possibly go to kind of give it a cartoonish bulging. The most...
Okay. Kroger is working with Microsoft to install facial recognition technology in stores to identify customers. This could allow shoppers to see prices differently based on their profile. What? Like, is that what they say they want to do? Or is that just like baseless conjecture from Dexerto? Well, I guess they must have said that. There's no way they would just add this in here, right? What the fuck is this? Is this a Nazi genealogy chart? They want to do dynamic pricing, they said. Oh, gotcha. Jeez, that's scary, but okay. That's one of those things that's technically economically good for everybody, but it feels so bad, nobody would truly want that in society. It's economically good because price discrimination theoretically allows you to have sections of customers that couldn't afford a product to afford it now because it's cheaper for them, but nobody wants to think that they might be on the paying more end of it. So, but that's basically what's happening right now with like pharmaceuticals or video games, because like video games are sold for cheaper in like, I don't want to say third world countries or developing countries, just countries that aren't as wealthy as the United States, GDP per capita lower, whatever. And so are pharmaceutical products. Drugs are sold for cheaper as well. But and that's a form of price discrimination. But obviously nobody likes it, so they buy keys from G2A and other things. Toasters. How would you know who to charge more, though? Do we have to share our incomes? Bro, there's probably so much shit collected on you from advertising, they could probably just figure it out. They already know your income. Oh. Why does DGG chat truncate links? Rep. Oh, we already watched this. Asmongold, he's a German, which is the opposite of a Jew. Okay. If everything was priced dynamically, how would that impact the economy? Well, theoretically, it would allow producers to make more money, and it would allow customers to pay more appropriate prices based on their income. So people who can afford to pay more would pay more, and people who don't have as much money to afford a thing might now be able to afford it because other people are paying more. That's like the ideal, that would be the idealized version of price discrimination. Colleges kind of work like that. But in reality, I think people just feel shitty when they see price discrimination. And I don't know if anybody really likes it in practice. Just the feeling is just bad.
Get it settled. Yeah, I said, you ought to get it settled because he's not done very much on that. He's got a lot of power, like we have a lot of power. I said, you ought to get it settled. We did discuss it. Yeah.
Mr. President, you launched your crypto coin the other day. Do you intend to continue selling products that benefit yourself personally while you're president?
Well, I don't know if it benefited. I don't know where it is. I don't know much about it other than I launched it. I heard it was very successful. I haven't.
See, this is another reason why, it's another reason why I came back, why I'm still here. It's because I'm so much more influential than I realized, okay? Because I think Trump watched my stream and he realized this when I said this, okay? This is the, because I started getting frustrated, and then I realized this. It was Andrew Wilson and then a couple of the lawyers that debated. This is the best debate strategy ever, is when somebody brings up a thing that's like clearly like not good, you're just like, oh, I haven't heard of that before. I don't know anything about that. Like, oh, what about this crypto? I don't know what crypto means. Like cryptography? Oh, wait, that's actually what crypto stands for cryptocurrency. Like crypt keeping? I don't know. Like, you're just like, oh, I don't know anything about that. I didn't know nothing at all.
Where it
It's such a good strategy. It's like unbeatable. And then what are you gonna, he did the same with Project 2025? Yeah. Even though he had like hired, Trump said, I pointed this out a lot, but nobody cared. Trump said two statements that were contradictory. He said, I haven't read any of 2025. I haven't read any Project 2025. And also, I'm not like supporting any of the policies in 2025. And it's like, well, wait, which is it? How do you not know anything that's in there, but you also know that you don't support what's in there? Those things can't be simultaneously true, right? Yeah, but this is just like a killer strategy.
It's settled. We did discuss it. Yeah.
Mr. President, you launched your crypto coin the other day. Do you intend to continue selling products that benefit
And he said some of
yourself
the policies
personally
are
while
good.
you're
True.
president?
Well, I don't know if it benefited. I don't know where it is. I don't know much about it other than I launched it. I heard it was very successful. I haven't checked it. Where is it today?
You made a lot of money, sir.
How much?
Several $billion, it seems like, in the last several days.
Several billion? That's peanuts for these guys.
And look, and he memes it off. He's like Asmongold. This is like the thing. Or Hassan. These guys all do media the exact same way, dude. This is like what everybody does. It's so crazy. You do like the worst thing ever, and then you just like meme it away and you joke it off. And then like that's it. And then you just move on. And nobody like in the media will say or do anything about this. And then you just like keep going. Based. What's all the forehead memes for? The Hunter Biden Ukraine shit is the worst thing to happen to U.S. politics for these conservatives. True. And the everything having to do with the that whole story, bro, it's actually like so unbelievable. It's so unbelievable that Giuliani and Trump called Zelensky begging for dirt on Hunter Biden, told Zelensky to announce an investigation with no proof, got a guy in Ukraine to lie about everything, to tie Hunter Biden to Burisma. That guy has now been either pled guilty to it or he was convicted. I think he pled guilty to lying about it all. All the Burisma stuff started off as a lie from this guy. In order to energize or empower the Republicans to do years and years of investigations into the Bidens and basically come up with nothing. And none of that matters. That's just so crazy that none of that matters. That's just so insane that none of that matters. What the fuck?
Spain is very low. And yet, are they a BRICS nation?
What?
They're a BRICS nation, Spain. You know what a BRICS nation is? Well, you'll figure it out. But,
And he doesn't know anything.
if the BRICS nations want to do that, that's okay, but we're going to put at least a 100% tariff on the business they do with the United States. You know,
Like, how many things are going wrong in your brain to think of, like, Spain? So Spain is now in an alliance with Russia and China, or like an economic union or alliance? What do we even, like, how many things are off in your head in terms of like world understanding for this to even be a possibility? Like, what?
Spain is very low. And yet, are they a BRICS nation?
What?
They're a BRICS nation, Spain. You know what a BRICS nation is? Well, you'll figure it out. But, and if the BRICS nations want to do that, that's okay, but we're going to put at least a 100% tariff on the business they do with the United States. You know what the BRICS is, right? You guys know.
Brazil,
You know what I'm
Russia.
saying, right? You know what I'm saying.
Thoughts on Biden pardoning his family? Didn't realize they were even in the Republican crosshairs. I think it's fine, dude. Anybody that comes down, they're the only person who I think could ever criticize the Biden pardons, maybe, and even that's a maybe, is Kyle Kulinski. Because Kulinski has been so harsh on Trump that I would grant that. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, this guy's allowed to do it. But anybody else is a fucking virtue signal. Bro, the Trump shit is so unhinged. And they already went after Hunter Biden illegally, like for years and years and years. So him pardoning his family, I think it's fine. Fuck it. I think that's whatever. Legal did it too. Yeah, Legal was not even close to being able to do that. I think it's just insane. Yeah, the optics nerds. Imagine attacking this guy for decades. Not decades. That was retarded. He probably did attack him 20 years ago over something, I'm sure. Imagine attacking this guy for years and years and then pardoning all the J6ers and ending this guy's security detail and saying, hey, listen, if they get him. I like how he ends his security detail playing up conspiracies at the same time, too. They all made a lot of money. They can hire their own security, too. I don't know if you're aware of this, but when Trump says this is an allusion to the idea that Fauci made billions of dollars off of investments related to pharmaceutical companies during COVID, which I don't think there's nothing to substantiate literally any part of that whatsoever. Could you do a quick breakdown on why going after Hunter was illegal? I mean, Giuliani, well, I don't know if there's a law broken here, which is highly unethical, but Giuliani calling the prime minister and saying, hey, I need you to announce an investigation with no evidence is insane. Trump making that call afterwards and then conditioning that investigation on fucking aid, I'm pretty sure was illegal because that was approved by Congress. And that was one of the things that was Trump's first impeachment. And then the fact that all of the Republican investigations afterwards, the Senate committees and the House committees and all that bullshit and all the FBI investigations, the special counsel, all that was all premised on, I believe all of it stemmed from that guy who claimed that Hunter Biden was doing bad things with Joe Biden with Burisma. And that was all based on a lie. And that guy pled guilty. Nobody talks about this. Nobody cares. Hunter Biden investigation start, lie, pled guilty. This FBI informant is the one where all of the Burisma stuff started. Former FBI informant pleaded guilty on Monday to lying about a phony bribery scheme involving President Joe Biden and his son Hunter that became central to the Republican impeachment inquiry in Congress. Alexander Smirnov entered his plea to a felony charge in connection with the bogus story, along with a tax evasion charge stemming from a separate indictment accusing him of concealing millions of dollars of income. But all of this was like started on a lie, basically. But was Rudy telling Trump all of this, or was Trump telling Rudy all this? Rudy was definitely taking direction from Trump. Maybe it was Rudy's idea, but I bet it was Trump's. Or Trump is so stupid it could have, but regardless, he was taking direction from. Destiny, Trump is so fucking dumb, bro. I wonder if as a member of the press, you could just ask him any questions and he'd bullshit some answer. Mr. President, do you know that Piltover has aligned with Noxus in announcing 200% tariffs on all U.S. goods? Billions of dollars of U.S. goods pass through Piltover's hex gates every day. Probably. Who knows? People are omega lolling. Is that referring to, like, is that a sci-fi thing or? "10-year blanket pardons for his family for any crime they did. That seems too much. And why couldn't Trump just make up charges in the next 4 years?" Well, he can't make up charges. That's why it's a blanket pardon. That's the point of a blanket pardon. So you can't make up charges. Oh, League of Legends, Noxus. Oh, my bad. It's been a long time. I've been out of the game. Okay. This is, I can't say what I want about this because I would be permabanned from everything and the FBI would visit me, but this is absolutely deplorable. Trump says that he is conditioning aid to California following the LA wildfires. President Donald Trump told reporters Friday that he would be conditioning aid to California following the devastating wildfires in the Los Angeles area, demanding the water be released. He also said he wants voter ID in the state. Quote, I want two things. I want voter ID for the people of California, and they all want it right now. You don't have voter ID. People want to have voter identification. You want to have proof of citizenship. Ideally, you have 1 day voting. But I just want voter ID as a start, Trump told reporters upon landing in North Carolina. And I want the water to be released, and they're going to get a lot of help from the U.S., he added. This is just such an unbelievably disgusting thing to say, but quick question, why do commodities cost more where the dollar is stronger? It's saddening that I can buy 10 times more in Mexico with the same USD. What's the benefit of a stronger dollar? We can import more. We can buy more shit from other people. You just said it, right? Is one benefit. But I think there's also macroecon is obviously hard, but you also have to consider the United States has a bit of a unique place in the world when it comes to macroecon as well, because the USD is the Federal Reserve currency, so we probably have a bit more flexibility with our monetary policy too. Like our currency becoming weaker can help us export more, and we don't have to worry about like our whole economy collapsing because people don't want to hold USD anymore because the US economy is stable. I don't know if other countries can say the same, but it's a different, yeah.
Vote that was.
What is this?
Who's doing a great job right now as vice president.
You also talk about some sort of a trade or a deal.
Should we get rid of FEMA? One idea that I've like flirted with in my head is the idea of being A-OK abolishing a lot of these federal agencies and then just have some blue states come together and like make their own. And then it sounds cruel, but like just let red states suffer. So if we want to have some form of FEMA, then maybe California, Massachusetts, a bunch of blue states get together and like, okay, well, we have our blue FEMA. And then when there are disasters, they can send aid and help accordingly. And then when Texas has another, freeze out, or when Florida or Georgia or South Carolina, North Carolina have another hurricane, then they can figure out their own shit. Yeah. Bro, that was one of the most eye-opening on paper things I'd ever seen. It was the difference between two states who, does anybody know what I'm talking about? The two states where one voted all blue, like every county, I think, and the other one had every county voting all red. And it was like, I think it was like Massachusetts versus like fucking Louisiana. And it was, holy shit. Do you think Trump will demand a third term? Also, do you think that Israel and Hamas ceasefire and bring the cat back? I don't know what Israel will do. They're in a power position right now. Trump will be too old, I would imagine. Was it Oklahoma? What was the difference exactly? Massachusetts was like first in like schooling, second in income, first in health. It was just like, and then the red state was like 49th in reading, like 53rd in math. They were imaginary states that were outperforming it. It was just like the difference in the outcomes of these two states was just unreal. It was insane. Destiny here. Oh, fuck. Was it this? Why is this in Spanish? Thank you. Oklahoma voted unanimously red, I guess. 44th in education, 49th in healthcare, 44th in quality of life, 50th in test scores, top 10 worst poverty. Massachusetts, first in education, second in healthcare, first in quality of life, first in test scores, top 10 least poverty. Jesus. Portuguese? We don't acknowledge that language here. So is TikTok going to get banned? Oh, that's a whole other thing. Bro, there's so much. Are we a week in? There's so much. So all the conservatives flipped their position on TikTok, and now they all like it, probably because they overperformed with young people. The left is happy because all the left were like Palestinian, pro-Palestinian people, so they want TikTok to stay. And then Trump is saying that they have 90 days, but they want like the United States to own 50% of it. I don't even know what the fuck that means. The thing is with TikTok, I think the legal arguments that the government made were strong. That's why I think it survived the Supreme Court case. However, it sucks because if TikTok goes away, I know that it's going to be Zuckerberg and Musk that benefit directly. But the idea of fucking state media owned by fucking Elon Musk or Zuckerberg, bro, kill me. Trump is just not enforcing the law. He's not using any legal mechanism to not enforce it. He's just doing a non-enforcement. I don't know if I agree with that because the law itself had a carve out for the president to like evaluate. So I hope that I can beat this out of your heads. I don't know. Or maybe this might just be a concern troll. I'm also I'm going hardcore banning on any concern trolling I see over political shit because I don't know how much of it is real versus just fucking psyopers. Destiny, wouldn't limiting disaster aid to blue states like you suggested be just as disgusting for the same reasons you just said Trump's conditional aid to California is disgusting? No, because he's doing it first. If the other side breaks the norms and they've decided they don't want to play by the norms, then you have to reevaluate your situation. That is a painfully obvious thing that every other person would acknowledge in any situation. If somebody walked up to you and aimed a gun at you and you shot back, there is not a single human being that would go, well, by shooting back at the guy that shot at you, aren't you kind of doing the exact same thing that you accused him of? No, you're not. Wait, what did I just have open here? What is this? Low tier God, 2 years ago. Okay. Balance of payment in millions. Wait, is this accurate? I don't trust any of these fucking graphs anymore. I almost don't want to show it on stream. Is this the difference in federal money that they receive versus what they spend? So this would mean that this must be with the citizens of the state paying taxes as well, right? Actually, I could believe that because people in California probably on average are higher earners. Same thing with Massachusetts, right? Maybe. You know how you talk about how the right always stands behind its politicians? They do the same thing with their states. I feel like Democrats are so willing to talk shit about New York, California, Chicago, etc. Meanwhile, Republican strongholds like Florida and Texas are adored by all Republicans. Well, it's just the media people, though. Like, I feel like people who live in New York and LA, like, even if they've got some bad things to say, like, they love these places. But the people in the media will shit on it relentlessly. And it's funny because the media people are usually living their, like, best lives. Could California just stop paying federal income tax and see what happens? I mean, the IRS would fuck you, no? States that are the most dependent on the federal government. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Remember all those projections back in like 2010 that Republican voter numbers were in such decline that they would never win another election? Russia actually rolled and smoked us with those bot farms. Yeah, but I think it's important to realize that Republicans, largely on accident, stumbled into better positions than like the far left media talking figures had. Because on the far left, they were like, okay, we have to be concerned with the blacks. We have to be concerned with, well, not Asians, fuck them. We have to be concerned with the browns. We have to be concerned with the Native Americans. We have to be concerned with all these different demographic groups of people that all need our hate. And Republicans were like, okay, well, we're never going to win those voters over. So fuck trying to appeal to anybody. Let's just like focus on like this shit that like all the white people like. But the problem is, not the problem, the benefit is like they just focus on like general shit. And it's not just white people that like that. And people on the left have this weird assumption sometimes that like, okay, well, we know that all black people hate cops. And we know that all brown people hate drug and labor enforcement. It's like, no, what the fuck are you talking about? Black people like safe neighborhoods. Nobody likes crime. Not even black people like crime, believe it or not. I know it's crazy. Brown people don't like socialism, especially if they fled from fucking Cuba or Venezuela. These people are not coming here looking for socialism, right? So I feel like Republicans stumbled into this like weird world where like, okay, let's just try to appeal to like our base. And then like other people like brown and black and people of other races are like, oh shit, like this sounds kind of base. Yeah, fuck the woke shit and you know, whatever, I just work and whoever the fuck, yeah, let's go. And so like Republicans, did the color of my light just change? Republicans just like stumbled into these like better positions. And meanwhile, Democrats are trying to be like, okay, like how do we ensure that black people know how much we love and respect them by getting rid of like the cops and defund the police and all these like weird, trying to pander to every different fucking group. And it's like, I think that you should come back and let's just like, what do we think of, you know, let's just like figure out like what everybody wants and what, you know, like the general, like build the base up, your base ideology first. And then you can do like a little bit of catering, maybe. That's like the feeling that I have. Oh, damn, okay. What is this?
Well, here's the, you don't think.
Oh God, 3.5 minutes of Asmongold? You're gonna do this to me? Something you said a long time ago that stuck with me is that white people from Europe are more liberal on average than brown people from South America / Asia. Yeah, one of the issues is, and it's kind of funny because this brings back a really old anti-SJW talking point that I think is true, that I repeat a lot, is that like, don't ever, oh, I said this in my debate with Peterson, don't ever mindfuck yourself into believing that because your group of friends is more colorful, that somehow they're more diverse. Like we enforce a lot of ideological homogeneity on our friend groups now. So just because you have a bunch of like black and brown and, you know, like and European and South American, like just and African and all these other and Indian, or just because you have all these friends that all support your ideas and you think like, okay, look, I've got like a really diverse movement. It's like, motherfucker, these are all college kids in the most liberal colleges in the United States. These people do not represent the average like racial minority in the US. Don't bullshit yourself into thinking that. You have the most fucking orthodoxy group of thinkers in the universe. That's great that they all look different, but ideologically, you guys are like in fucking lockstep. Okay? Like you have Hispanic friends that are championing the idea of Latinx, all right? Nobody gives a fuck about this shit outside of your group of friends. Or you have like black, like an ordinary black person in the United States is not talking about, what is it? Fuck, what's the term? Western imperialism or, oh God, there's a, the thing where you're always just shitting, it only ever applies to conquering imperialism. What's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? Not BIPOC. Colonialism. Yeah. Average black person, an average person of descent from any African place, any Asian place, any South American place, is not talking about fucking colonialism, okay? You've bullshitted yourself into thinking that you have these crazy diverse positions, but you don't. These are like exclusively like fucking ivory tower positions. Like most people don't give a fuck about this shit. Like, most Latinos would like, not to be mean, but would like beat the shit out of their daughter if she was having like premarital sex. Probably not that bad anymore, right? But like these are not your progressive stalwarts that you seem to have like tricked yourself into thinking that they are, bro. But I don't know, yeah. So Republicans, just by treating, it's so funny, like inadvertently by just treating everybody like the same kind of person, I think they lucked into appealing to a lot more people than the Democrats. I wasn't going to say this until after the DNC election, but I fuck all that now, I guess. Jesus. But I mean, I'm still invested. I wish for the best. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but there was one question, and I loved everybody that I interviewed. Okay, I loved everybody that I interviewed. There was one question that I asked that I don't think I asked this to Williamson because she was out there and everything. That every single person I asked this question to failed. Oh, you noticed this? Yeah. When I asked all of these candidates, because I think I asked Wickler, and Skoufis, and O'Malley, and guys that I liked a lot of their positions and everything, and I said like, hey, so my fan base is a bunch of like white men. What are you gonna do about like young white men? Because it feels like nobody wants to talk to them, and everybody generalized that. Nobody wanted to touch that. I think O'Malley said, well, we need to worry about all the people in the United States. I think, oh no, I might have asked, did I ask Miriam or Williamson? I think I asked her that. And she was like, well, women have these problems too. Yeah. And then I think Wickler and Skoufis also were like, oh yeah, we have to do things. Wickler's answer was okay. I think Wickler brought it back, but it's irritating to me because progressives have the language for it where like if a black person says like, hey, like I think it's kind of bullshit that there are certain things relating to my ethnicity that I have to deal with in the United States that you never have to think about. And a white person's like, okay, well, what about my problems? Or like when a woman is like, hey, like I have to worry about, like harassment or whatever else. And a guy's like, okay, well, we get harassed too. Like, have you seen video game lobbies? Like it's bad for us too. No matter what, you take away their complaint and you all lives matter them, right? And every candidate, when I interviewed them, every single candidate did this to me when I was like, what about like young white men? And they were like, well, what about everybody else? And it's like, damn, okay. That was kind of, geez. Ro Khanna did the same when you talked to him in the past about young men. Yeah, he might have, because I think I asked him a question about education, but I was very intentional for the DNC candidates. Oh, I'm glad I did ask Williamson about that. I'm glad I did. But it's like, geez, this is a problem, guys. Can we not just say this? Can we not just say, like, that's just kind of blackpilling that I get this. And you guys aren't even running for like huge national seats where like the diversity vote or whatever matters. This is like, it's 448 insiders, DNC people that are voting on this. So you don't even have to try to do this super appeal. But yeah, what's the right answer? The right answer is you should be able to talk specifically to young white men problems. You should be able to say like, yeah, I think we failed young white men. And in this way, there's a reason why we've lost all of them or so many of them to the Tates and the Petersons and the Shapiros. It can't just be that you're praying for women to save your movement or minorities to save your movement. Like we should, I mean, like Democrats have done a lot of good things for white men too. Like we have to be able to take credit for that and then to speak to it, I think, but. To be fair, are white males' problems truly limited to only white men? It seems like in general, it's all young men. Yeah, but the issue is like, and this is why like that 4chan troll was so good for the all lives matter thing. When somebody says like all lives matter, you should be able to say like, yeah, of course, but like we just want to talk about like black issues with this movement. But of course, all lives matter. You shouldn't fight the slogan, right? And so when somebody says like, oh, like what should we do about young black men? We can talk about that, or young Asian men, or young Hispanic men, or young whatever. We can have all those conversations, but then when it's like young white men, it has to be generalized. Like that's too scary of a demographic to even talk to. And I think that's a really big problem. I think that's an issue, I think. What has Dems done for white men? Well, I don't know if you would say white men specifically, but for just in terms of like econ policy that helps the entire country. I think that Dems have done a much better job than any of the fucking conservatives have. Conservatives help rich white men, but that's basically it. Yeah. Have you ever had a way to combat people who argue the punching up and down argument that it feels like most people are too scared to talk about? Yeah, fuck that shit. Fuck that. I don't believe in that shit. Punching up and down is cringe. I think punching up and down is just an excuse for people who either lucked into a certain race or they lucked into or lied their way into a certain gender disposition, like become bullies. I think I used to use the term punching up and down, but I think there's something more specific that I'm talking about and I think I even was hinting at it when I spoke about it before. I just didn't have the better language to describe it. The reason why I think punching up feels okay is because hopefully, usually it's not like ultra vitriolic. Like you don't feel when Dave Chappelle is making fun of white people that he actually hates white people. But for certain white people making fun of black people, it's like, okay, wait, hold on, buddy. We need to figure this out. But people have taken that punching up and down thing to mean if I'm punching up, I can literally be as hateful and racist or misandrous as I want to like another group as long as I have less power than them, which is insane. To make this all about me, smaller streamers also do this, where a small streamer, Ethan has had to deal with this a lot recently, Ethan Klein, a smaller streamer thinks that they can just say whatever the fuck they want and be as like disgusting and vitriolic and nasty as possible to somebody. Like, oh, well, that's a bigger streamer, I should be able to do this with no repercussions whatsoever. Yeah, I think that's wild and dumb. Katie did that during the Israel-Palestine arc? Yeah. I think it's generalized because they face general problems shared by other men. What specifically only hurts white men that also has a specific solution. I think that in general, I think that white America has done bad things to minorities in the past, and we've had to kind of like deal with that and have like a reckoning about that. However, white America has also done like a lot of really amazing things too. And I think the issue is when you talk about feeling horrible for the things that America has done, I don't care if you agree with me or not, I'm just right on this. That is a burden that is solely placed on the white man. Not even the white woman has this burden. When you talk about America bad, what you're really saying is white man bad. Nobody talks about imperialism and colonialism and they're blaming like American leaders who are not white, because a lot of them have been white. It's always about the white man. So I'm not even sure. I mean, like there are things that apply specifically to white people having to do with like suicidality maybe and the opioid crisis maybe, but you got to figure something out. It can't be that you have all this language, all this academic jargon to shit on white people over and over and over again, but you have nothing to build them up for. Because the issue is you're treating white people and black people differently at that point, right? If you can be sensitive enough to talk about microaggressions, and I use that expression very seriously, I think microaggressions are the worst thing in the world. I think they're worse than overt racism or sexism because micro things are things that will drive you crazy over long periods of time. You can't call them out because it's a small thing and you feel like a crazy person calling it out. But like if progressives can understand how annoying like a microaggression can be, or just overtly being bad to somebody over a long period of time, how can you expect like white, especially young white people, to endure the same thing and not have an issue with it? Like that's not gonna, that just is not gonna fly. It can't be that way. So one of the things that O'Malley said that I really liked was when he tries to phrase things, he tries to do, I think he said, and, but, so. So instead of just saying a thing is good, you say like, white people, young white men have more opportunities than they've ever had in the past in America today. And we're doing a really great job at assisting with that through things like, I don't know, the Infrastructure Act that'll give probably a lot of money to white people who are doing these types of jobs or own these types of companies. But there are specific issues facing white people, like suicidality especially, or the opioid crisis in the past. So that's the but, and then the so, these are things we're going to do to target these types of issues so that as other people in society make gains, other ethnicities make gains, white people don't feel like they're being left behind. I think that like that and, but, so is a really important formula. Destiny, you can't be racist against white people. Academic literature is abused to shit by, frankly, anti-white racists who just want to, that too. Oh yeah, you have to be way better calling out racism by non-white people. That shit flew, even I was calling that out like 6 years ago. Who was it, Professor Flowers, who debated Vosh? Was that like 6 years ago? Was that long ago? There are a lot of people, that's why I don't like that punching up or down thing anymore. There are a lot of people who do that anti-white racism. They're just hateful, evil. They're just fucking bullies. That's what they are. Like if they would have been white, they would have been a fucking KKK member. They would have been a neo-Nazi saluting fucking Sam Hyde 100%. They just happen to be born a minority and they get a free pass to be disgusting, hateful people. yeah, I those people need to have their shit checked way the fuck more, in my opinion. But not in my opinion. They do. Fuck you. Okay. What's our good largest political commentator on Twitch talking about?
You don't think like anything that they do? Well, here's the big thing that I think a lot of people need to understand. Do not put divisive political issues in video games.
Okay. Oh, emotivism. When they say things, remember, you just have to understand what they're saying. When he says, don't put divisive political issues in video games, what he's actually saying is, don't represent a political opinion that I don't like in video games. Because if there was a video game and there was a scene where there was like some soy SJW and you like run them over with your car, it would be the most hilarious, epic thing in the world, right? So just be aware of like what he's saying when he says this.
To put divisive political issues in video games. Your opinion of what is divisive is not relevant. What people's opinion of what is divisive is relevant. Let me give you an example.
Some of the most popular video games of all time, in my opinion, and just matter-of-factly, are the Metal Gear Solid games, which are intensely political. Probably almost any game that involves like war or whatever is going to be intensely political. The GTA games, I didn't play 5 to be fair. Which one had CJ? Was that 4 or 3? And I played Vice City and GTA 2. These games were like dripping with social commentary. You could just hop into, oh, that was GTA San Andreas. Bioshock 1 and 2 were explicitly political, like divisive political stuff. Bioshock 1 was like a love letter or a hate letter, I guess depending on how you see it, to fucking Ayn Randian libertarianism. Bioshock 2 was the one with the little girls. Did they do the socialist memes in that one? I don't even remember 2 that much. I don't know what they did as much for 3. But yeah, like these games were, Fallout is, these games are insanely political in nature, but
The Elon Musk Nazi salute thing. I don't agree with the amount of people that are angry about it.
He's not talking about that type of political. He's talking about Veilguard with the cringe scene where the one character yells at her parents about her pronouns and trans coming out. Yeah, I've never seen this and it sounds cringe. But like some games and some movies have like cringe writing and are cringe. Just because it's like political doesn't make it like an extra bad cringe. Some things are just like fucking cringe. Like there was nothing political about Titus laughing in Final Fantasy X. But it's like one of the oldest, like, classic cringe moments in, like, all of video game fucking... Like, there's, like, yeah, sometimes video games are cringe. But, like...
I think that they're being unreasonable. But I acknowledge that they exist. And there are a lot of them.
The problem is that you take an already established franchise and change it. My friend, what established franchise is not constantly being changed with every new reboot and every new remake and every new sequel and every, like, bro, everything is changing constantly always. Like, that's just the nature of all media.
You don't have to agree with something in order to know that it is real.
Destiny, the problem is that the left keep putting their politics in a cringe way. Yeah, if I believed this to be true, and I think that people were like tired of politics being involved in stuff, then the right would be making apolitical stuff, but they're not. They're making even more political stuff. It's just on their side. So I don't think the issue is we don't like politics in our stuff. It's we want politics that we agree with. Like that Sound of Freedom movie was a big fucking jerk off to combating illegal immigrant human traffickers or Lady Ballers or any of the Daily Wire movies. It's not like these guys are like, oh, well, we should make our own apolitical content. It's we're going to make political stuff on our end, okay? That's fucking swallows Trump loads. Let's go.
Real. There is this massive problem that these people have that they think that if they don't talk about the problem, eventually it will go away. That never works. It never works. It never, like, you can't just ignore the elephant in the room and eventually it turns into an ant. That's not what happens. They pretend it doesn't exist. Yes, exactly. And so, they just signed that new bill? Yeah, teeth fall. Well, yeah, there we go. And that's why they lost the election. We're tired. Well, I think so. I think that a lot of people are tired of being gaslighted. That's exactly what happened. Where thought games are made to escape reality. Yeah.
Isn't the problem with woke politics in games that they're not subtle enough? Cyberpunk is arguably woke since there are body modifications, but the game is widely accepted. Yeah, but it's not just politics, it's just everything. Sometimes people have like really heavy-handed messages for their media, and it's just cringe. Like, it's too heavy-handed. Like, okay, we get it. But other times, like, people can be more subtle with the messaging, and it's nicer. But that's not just a political thing. It can apply to literally, it can apply to all writing, you know? Like, it doesn't have to just be political messaging. It could be anything.
Bro, give up to fan on Elon, what he did. You call him out for being a face gamer, call him out for doing a Nazi salute. Look, bro, I'm not talking about that. You're not going to convince me about it. I don't want to argue about it. It's just an example that I'm using. If you're getting caught up with this idea and you're going to turn this into a fucking, like an argument, oh no, I'm not going to accept your reality because I think it's fucking retarded. Sorry. Yeah, there's not evidence for it. It's not very good. Here's what my...
Is there a single video game released in the last 20 years with a heavy-handed right-wing political message? Probably not, but that's because right-wing people have like disengaged from all fucking art and creative shit. But I mean, like, what do you guys expect? You guys shit on art constantly. Liberal arts? Those are fucking gay fucking degrees. Those are gay degrees for the gays. We don't do that. We only do STEM. We only do STEM in science because STEM is the only thing that fucking matters. STEM is the most fucking important thing. And it's like, wait, why are none of the artists conservative? Why are none of the musicians conservative? Why are none of the art directors or any of the producers, why are they like, yeah, no shit. If you sit here and you demonize the fuck out of everything that's not STEM and fucking hard science and blue collar and carrying bricks and crushing plants beneath your feet because it's the scenery is too green and throwing your cigarette butts in the street because littering is masculine. Like, yeah, what do you expect? No shit.
My point is that I understand that there are a lot of people that disagree with me on this. And that they disagree with me on other multiple issues, right? A multitude of issues. Like, for example, I think you should be able to get an abortion whenever you want. Like, with no restrictions. That's what my opinion is. I have an extreme opinion about this. That's the way I feel. I understand that my opinion is extreme because I have self-awareness. The problem that these people have is that they live in an echo chamber and they never confront anything else that disagrees with them. I know that people disagree with me, and I know that I have a minority opinion. Same with gambling, by the way.
The cringe and heavy-handedness is the difference between progressive and woke, Destiny. Sure, but like things are cringe and heavy-handed in media. They just are. Bro, how many old movies can you go back and watch with like so many of these like classic tropes of like the damsel in distress, and it's like, oh wow, here's this dude who's gonna save her at the perfect time and she loves him now and it's all happily ever after, and oh wow, here's like this guy beating 300 criminals because they're not like American enough and they're fucking, you know, they're stupid. Like, oh, look at all the Rambos past like Rambo 1. Like it's like it's cringe and but it's just it's heavy-handed, it's not subtle. I mean, different people watching, I'm just saying sometimes stuff sucks. Okay? Sometimes stuff sucks, and it's fair to say when it sucks. But when stuff sucks, and it's also stuff that you disagree with politically, that doesn't mean that it's just because of all those politics. It's just shitty writing. Like, are there any old movies as heavy-handed as Barbie or Don't Look Up? I'm sure that there are, but you don't know those movies because they faded away, and nobody talks about them anymore. That's why in 20 years, nobody's going to be mentioning the Barbie movie or Don't Look Up. They're just going to be mentioning great movies, like all the movies that I like Everything Ever All at Once.
If it was up to me, there would be no lottery, no...
Oh, actually, unironically, that's a really good movie. I think Everywhere Everywhere All at Once is arguably a super political movie. The daughter is fucking a girl, because she's a lesbian. And then it's about like an Asian immigrant family. And it's fighting like an older conservative dad, but it's not like super heavy-handed, right? They deal with it... I don't even know if I'd say that it's not heavy-handed. They just deal with it really well. Like the movie is well put together, so it doesn't feel as stupid, I guess. But like that's like arguably a super woke, progressive-y type political movie. But I don't think a conservative would watch that and be like, oh, this is so woke. So it's not the politics. It's just like shitty writing, you know? It's like Ghostbusters, the all-girl version of Ghostbusters sucked because it was woke, but Ghostbusters 2 just sucked because it was bad. Well, why? Ghostbusters 2 was an all-male cast. Maybe that was too anti-woke. Maybe if they would have had some more women on the team, maybe it wouldn't have sucked so much. Now, to be fair, I like Ghostbusters 2. That's just the popular opinion, all right? I dug up the Veilguard scene in question that pisses everybody off. It's the second video in this tweet.
Here, vegetables.
Okay, this, I don't even know what the fuck this game is, but this just, Jesus.
Thank you. So, I'm non-binary.
Why are they, oh God.
Oh, I'm non-binary. What does that mean?
Is he supposed to be like half the size as these two people? I feel like this is the Breaking Bad scene with Jesse in the middle.
It means I don't feel like a man or a woman.
If you are neither a man nor a woman, then what are you?
Non-binary. I just said, and I'm going to use they instead of she from now on.
Jesus Christ. Okay, but here's my question. If I were to play through this entire video game, would I find that like the rest of the would I find that like the rest of this game is written incredibly well and it's like so good and these scenes are just like standout horrible scenes, or is the writing in all of this game just kind of dog shit? Everything Everywhere All at Once was symbolically traditional. It just had a couple of woke themes, no tears. I super ultra disagree with that. I think it was fighting against a lot of kind of like, I don't want to say conservative values like the socio-political, like the right or whatever, but just fighting against like overbearing parents, judging people for not falling into ultra traditional masculine roles. The characters act like children the whole game. Okay. Having lesbo daughters, or a daughter. Okay, sorry, hold on, back to this.
No scratch-offs, no gambling, period. Nobody would do it. I hate gambling. I think it's corrosive in every single way. But I understand that I'm the minority because I have self-awareness. These people refuse to have self-awareness.
True.
People are dragging them, desperately trying to say, look into the light, look at reality, look in the mirror. And they won't do it.
The issue is like to lean on the conservatism for a bit. The issue is like we vote with our wallets. Like you can do, if you want to make more conservative coded media or whatever, then do it. But like fucking all this shit sells way better. Remember how ass pain people got about fucking Wakanda and the Black Panther? But that movie I think was one of the first Marvel ones that grossed over $1 billion. Like, if you don't like it, I mean, you need to have people who represent you that are making stuff that speaks more, I guess, to the souls of the people that I guess don't like shit like that. I don't know, but do you think the Dems would have better odds in future elections if the left just stopped this shit entirely? I don't know. Republicans would just find something else to hyperfixate on, because I don't think anybody cares about this stuff that much. If conservatives weren't talking about this, I seriously doubt there would be this like conglomeration of people like, God, fuck, you remember that fucking scene where she fucking gives her fucking pronouns and she says she was fucking non-binary? What's happening to this goddamn country? Fucking non-binary? Are you serious? She was an elf Zord and non-binary. What the, like, nobody would give a fuck. They would just be like, do you remember the fucking cringe writing in that game? And that would be it. And you would move on. Because sometimes things in life are fucking cringe. Fuck, I scared Honey. I don't know if she's an elf. I don't know what these people are.
And they're putting hundreds, if not thousands of people out of jobs every single year by using these different types of media to be a platform for their worldview.
All art is like a platform for your worldview. It's such a bizarro, it's such an artistically stupid thing to say. Like, when you engage in art, you're necessarily part of culture and giving something back to the culture that you exist in. And of course, that thing is going to represent and express things that you feel are true about society, right? Like it's a reflection of yourself, it's a reflection of your experiences. Like that's all art. Like that's always going to be the case. But I don't know. Destiny, I think it's changed a bit this year in games, at least perceptually. Concord, Dragon Age, Suicide Squad all failed commercially, and there was quite a big anti-woke outrage around them. Sure, yeah, maybe. I don't follow the current games as much, but I have heard a lot of complaining about it. I don't know if it is the case that people care that much about it, or if it's just these people talking about it so much. But I've also heard like a lot of general complaints about games as well. That just games are just not in a great spot right now. I don't know if it's because they became too commercialized and they're just trying to like iterate on the exact same formula over and over and over and over and over again. But holy shit, somebody just said something and I'd never actually thought about this before. Holy fuck. Somebody said, Destiny, that's just people getting old. I wonder if video games were like a millennial thing. And that I wonder, does Gen Z play as many video games? Like, I'm going to do what we used to do to women. Now I'm going to do to Gen Z. Like real games? Does Gen Z play real games as much anymore? Or when they say like, oh, Gen Z is the most heavily gamed like market, are they including like people that play mobile games in that? Like that, I don't even know the names of the fucking, or just like people that play Roblox and Fortnite. Actually, you know what? I would bet money on this. I wonder if anybody's ever done this survey before. I bet Gen X even. I bet Gen X, individual on their own, and millennials, individual on their own. I bet both those generations played 5 times as many unique video games as Gen Z if you remove bullshit mobile games. I bet they did. How many, if you go to Gen Z and you were to ask them, what have you played besides Fortnite, Minecraft, and Roblox? I'm sure that like you'd have like a lot of FIFA kids and Call of Duty kids, but if you remove like sequels, how many different games do these people even play? Gen Z is pushing 30 a little, bro. Wait, what is the oldest Gen Z? Wait, how old is oldest Gen Z? Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Wait, how old are we? Aren't we like 27 still? Okay, maybe I'm thinking Gen Alpha. Gen Alpha. At Destiny, since you mentioned the Black Panther, did you ever notice how the ultra-advanced Wakandans just stood by and did nothing while their fellow Africans were colonized and enslaved for centuries? Wow, that's really interesting that you would bring that up. I wonder if the first movie dealt with that theme incredibly heavily, and if maybe that was literally the entire central theme of the first movie.